I'm Scott Smith. I'm Vice President of Advancement for Lake Superior State University. I'd like to welcome everyone to Great Lakes State Weekend and the 2021 Lake Superior State University Alumni Awards. Now, before we begin, may I suggest we all take a moment and pause and all share a single thought. Is the ringer on my cell phone turned off? Look at you guys. You can thank me later for that, because you know you don't want to be that guy. So, we'd like to start our ceremony by first recognizing any previous honorees who are with us today. I know there are some. I'd like to ask any past award recipients of the Paul Ripley Award for Young Alumni, the Ken Scholdice Award, Alumni Achievement Award, the Dr. Donald and Catherine Finlayson Distinguished Citizen Award, the Outstanding Alumnus Award, as well as any Hall of Fame inductees. Would you please stand as a group and be recognized? Now, we'd like to recognize members of the Alumni Association Board of Directors who are here. These are alumni who serve as volunteers, helping organize alumni events and socials, membership programs and celebrations like this. Alumni board members, please stand and be recognized at this time. Last, we'd like to recognize any LSSU faculty, staff, or retirees. Would you please stand and be recognized at this time? It is now my pleasure to introduce Lake Superior State University President, Dr. Rodney Hanley.
Thank you, Scott, and welcome this evening. So welcome to Lake Superior State University to everyone, the alumni and friends, to our 26th annual Great Lakes State Weekend. I'm going to deviate from my notes just for a moment and just say how special it is to be here all together. I haven't been to a hockey game in 2 years, and we haven't had a lot of these kinds of events in the last 2 years. And so being able to gather once again, fellowship with our friends, our colleagues, and acquaintances is really special. And I just want to start off by saying that. We hope you enjoy your time on campus and take full advantage of a weekend full of activities and events. We're also grateful and pleased that you're all here. Our homecoming weekends are very special. And this one is uniquely so, as we're also celebrating 2 anniversaries. The first of which is the 75th anniversary of the university, 75 years. The second is the 50th anniversary of our School of Nursing. We have so much to be proud of in the last 75 years. Think about it for a second. From Fort Brady to becoming a branch campus of Michigan Tech University to today being Lake Superior State University. We've been a home to soldiers. We've been a home to Hornets, that's what they call the players at Michigan Tech, and now we're the home of Lakers. We started with a class of 272 students of returning World War II veterans, and today we're home to some 2,000 students. In our first class, there were no women in our graduating class. There were only 4 women in our second graduating class of LSSU. And today, women now outnumber men in our student body. Much has happened in our 75-year anniversary, or history. And if I may, I just want to hit a few, I'd like to just take a moment to share a few of our current highlights. Enrollment of new students is up at a time when most universities throughout the state are reporting very significant declines in the number of new students. Lake Superior State University leads all universities in the state in new student growth. We're up 17.4% since 2019. But our highlights don't end there. the Richard and Teresa Barch Center for Freshwater Research and Education will be opening this fall. This facility on the St. Mary's River will provide space dedicated to protecting our Great Lakes and our fisheries, public education and engagement, and conducting research on fish management, emerging contaminants, and invasive species in the Great Lakes. We're also investing in student success through brand new academic programs like cannabis chemistry and cannabis business, which have experienced a 200% increase in student enrollment since 2019. We also have new programs in mechatronics and data science that are growing very quickly. In the last 3 years, we've introduced the first new academic programs to the university that the university has seen in 25 years. Something we're also very proud of is that over 60% of our students here at LSSU are first-generation college students. That means they were the first in their family to attend a university. We easily lead all universities in the state of Michigan in the percentage category of first-gen students. And we also take our student retention very seriously. And that's why we've created men's and women's club hockey teams, because we know that when students feel like they're part of a team, they're much more likely to graduate. And those are just a few of the exciting things that are happening now at Lake State. Perhaps one or more of those efforts will have an impact on a future alum award recipient, which is why we're here today. So I'd like to extend my congratulations to all of our recipients this evening, and I look forward to visiting with you a little bit later at the hockey game and throughout the rest of the weekend. Now, before we celebrate the alumni award winners, I have the pleasure of announcing the Bud and Mary Mansfield Parents of the Year Award. Now, we recognize the importance of family support in our student success. In fact, it was likely a caring parent who you turned to, I'm looking at everybody now, that you turned to when you got an especially good grade in a tough class, or you got the especially tough grade in a very challenging class. Parents are the cornerstone of the student development and success. We created this award many years ago in honor of the Mansfields, who had 8 children and 7 grandchildren to graduate from LSSU. That is dedication. You'll see in the program a description of the award. This annual contest is announced among our current students, and we ask them to tell us why their parents deserve to be designated as Parents of the Year. Now, the winning essay this year, as chosen by a selection committee, was written by Megan Voisinette. Megan nominated her parents, Sarah and Jim. Now, I'm not going to read Megan's entire essay, even though it was especially moving, it was poignant, and it was very well done. But I do want to read how Megan closes her essay. She wrote, quote, "I knew in my heart that I could achieve more if I returned to campus rather than staying home like I really wanted to. And today, I'm sitting here writing this. I appreciate my parents' love, their support, more than I ever thought possible. Without them telling me to come back to school, I likely would not have returned and would have been on a completely different path than I currently am. So I am thankful and grateful that they have always been there for me and pushed me to be who I am today. They have been phenomenal role models, and for this, I would like to thank them. They deserve a weekend away, simply as a celebration of life and as a way to demonstrate just how they are not only the Parents of the Year, but they're also the best parents I could ever ask for. So I'd like to ask Sarah, Jim, and Megan to come forward at this time to receive the Mansfield Parents of the Year Award. Okay.
congratulations to Megan and her parents. Megan, your folks are certainly deserving, and it's great to have you. It's a privilege to be here, to be part of an event like this that recognizes successful alumni of Lake State. Each year, the LSSU Alumni Association is proud to honor a select few alumni. When you consider there are more than 34,000 graduates and former students of the Sioux branch of Michigan Tech, Lake Superior State College, and now Lake Superior State University, you realize these three special people that we'll hear about tonight are a pretty elite group. Our first award of the evening is the Paul Ripley Award for Young Alumni. Paul Ripley served as the university's first alumni director and was a member of the first class in 1946. The longtime administrator held several positions during his tenure, including Director of Career Planning and Placement and Director of College Relations. An associate professor of journalism, Ripley established the Laker Log alumni newspaper and published it for more than 20 years. The Laker Log remains a vital link between LSSU and alumni today. Paul retired in 1987 after more than 20 years of service. This award honors graduates who have enjoyed exceptional personal and professional success early in their careers. Those honored must have graduated within the past 15 years and or be no more than 40 years of age. I'd like to mention that Paul's daughter Patty and son-in-law Bob Colheed are with us today as well. Patty and Bob, would you give us a wave, please? There they are. Receiving the Paul Ripley Award for Young Alumni is Hannah Pearson Campo, introducing her as Dr. Gary Johnson, who taught at LSSU from 1978 to 2015 and is Professor Emeritus of Political Science at Lake State. Professor Johnson.
Thank you, Scott. I see lots of familiar faces out here, some from the university, some from people I golfed against within the last month. May have beaten, maybe not. It's a pleasure to be back after all those years teaching here. This is the first time I've been in this room since it was remodeled. I'm going to have to make it back more often if I'm going to keep up with everything that's happening. And I was especially pleased to see Jim Fallis. I hadn't seen Jim in many, many years. We used to spend a lot of time together before he left to go elsewhere. So nice to see you back, Jim. In the fall of 2002, a fascinating new student enrolled in our program, the political science program at LSSU. Her name was Hannah Pearson Campo, and she arrived here with advanced placement credit, with broad education she had received both at home and in high school, and a unique experience that she had acquired as a page in the United States Senate while she was still in high school. It was clear from the very beginning that Hannah was a young woman of great initiative, creativity, and curiosity. It was also clear that she would be a great student and a valuable contributor to our program, which was at the time one of the very best programs on campus. Hannah did not disappoint. Aside from being a great student, she got actively involved in the political science club from the outset. She also enrolled in just her second semester in a sophomore level course, Model United Nations, a course that requires students to represent a United Nations country and to participate in a Model UN at another university where students come from, in this case, 15 different universities in the upper Midwest. Hannah was an active and passionate participant in that Model UN, which took place in Moorhead, Minnesota. And she then volunteered the next year to serve on the organizing committee when we hosted the conference here at LSSU. And in fact, the General Assembly met in this room, and we had about 300 people in here from 15 different universities. Hannah continued being a great student and being actively involved on campus in subsequent years. She also continued showing the initiative that has always made her such a go-getter. She did that in the summer of 2004, following her junior year, when she served as an intern in New York on The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. This reflected her interest in both politics and communication, as well as her specific interest in political humor. She pursued that interest in her senior year when she wrote a senior thesis on the evolution of the political cartoon in the United States. Hannah earned her BA in political science from LSSU in 2005, and she had a minor in communications and rhetoric, and of course those went very nicely together. She then went on to earn an MA in communication, culture, and technology from Georgetown University in Washington. After completing her MA, Hannah went to work for the Council for the International Exchange of Scholars in Washington, D.C. She served as Senior Program Associate in their Global Programs Unit. She then worked for the Parker Tide Corporation as Program Coordinator for a contract service with the Department of State. From there, she worked as a business analyst in the Consular Affairs Metrics Project, also concerning the State Department, so she was working with people in the State Department. And then as the HR business analyst for the National Democratic Institute for International Affairs in Washington. Since December of 2017, she has worked as IT product manager for American University in Washington, D.C. She received their Leadership by Example Award in 2019. Hannah has also been active outside of work. She's been deeply involved with the Washington Humane Society and won the Outstanding Service Award for her volunteer efforts at the 2007 National Walk for Animals. She has also continued doing the kinds of interesting things that took her to the U.S. Senate and to The Daily Show. Thus, on April 17, 2017, she was a contestant against James Holzhauer on the nationally popular game show Jeopardy with Alex Trebek. Unfortunately, she did not win against James Holzhauer. Hannah had 8 classes with me while she was a student here, 28 credits, which meant that comes out to about almost a 4th-year education, I think. And she was also my academic advisee. I got to know her very well, and therefore I was one of the faculty members who wrote a recommendation for her when she applied to graduate school. In my letter, I noted that Hannah was, quote, bright and hardworking, but she also possesses genuine intellectual curiosity. Students often participate in class because they think they're earning credit or they want to impress the professor, but there's a difference between that and being genuinely curious intellectually. And Hannah was genuinely curious intellectually. I could always tell that she was actively engaged in the material. She wasn't just playing a game. She was truly interested in the material. I noted in the letter that this is a relatively rare and exceedingly valuable trait. I went on to say that Hannah was a young woman of both integrity and spirit, and I predicted that she would, quote, add zest to any enterprise she is a part of. I think that's the only time I said in any of the hundreds of letters of recommendation I wrote that a student would add zest. I'm not sure I ever used that term before, but it just fit Hannah so perfectly because she did add zest. I think it's clear from her career that she has done exactly that. Hannah is married to Alex Baum. They have a son, Isaac, and a daughter, Zora, who is just 10 weeks old, and so the kids are not with us tonight. They're both very young. But Alex is. Alex, would you stand quickly? When Hannah presented her senior thesis in the spring of 2005, just down the hall from here, it was my pleasure to introduce her to the audience. Tonight in 2021, it's my great privilege to present her with the Paul Ripley Young Alumnus Award. Congratulations, Hannah. We are proud of your many accomplishments, and we know that you will continue to make us proud, and I'm sure you will do that with zest.
So first, is my voice okay? You can see me? Stand up. I was wondering if there was going to be a stool. So thank you so much for the lovely introduction. I'm really touched. Thank you. I would also like to thank the Alumni Association for this award. I am flattered and humbled. One of the things I learned at Lake State is an appreciation for the indigenous history and culture of this area. So I'd like to acknowledge the Chippewa history of the land on which we're standing before I start. Because of my LSSU experience, I have educated many friends, acquaintances, and colleagues about the UP and about Lake Superior. Sharing my love for this place and its people has grown my affection for LSSU. The more I talk about it, the more I love that I went to school here and spent so much time in this community. One of the things I loved about being at Lake State was that it's so much more than your classroom experience. I was able to spend a lot of time in the community getting to know my neighbors on this side and in Canada, through the Jewish community, through the orchestra, through so many opportunities given to me at Lake State. In my job as product manager, I help my customers analyze and solve difficult problems every day. I'm only successful in this because of the faculty members in this room who never allowed me to get away with an easy answer to any of their questions, no matter how much I wanted to. LSSU prepared me for a job market where flexibility is crucial, especially now. Spending the past 16 years in DC before moving back to Michigan this summer, I've worked in international ed, in diplomacy, in technology, in student exchange, and finally in product management for higher education. I've been lucky to receive the opportunities I've had in my career, but I've been able to seize them because Lake State taught me how to hustle and how to ask for the big offer. LSSU armed me with the skills to be an effective leader, a thoughtful communicator, a deep thinker, and a person who understands we are connected to and responsible for each other. The weather and location also taught me a thing or two about thriving in isolation, such as in a global pandemic. For all of this, I could not be more grateful for this award and for LSSU and for all of you today. Thank you so much, and go Lakers.
Congratulations, Hannah. This is off script, but I learned something in my walk-in. This is the 4th time Professor Johnson has introduced an award winner, and I think that just speaks volumes to the difference that our faculty make in the lives of our students. Good to see you today, Professor. Our next award is the Kenneth J. Schuldeis Alumni Achievement Award. Dr. Schuldeis served as Lake State's first chancellor and president from 1966 until his retirement in 1983. During his tenure, Lake State grew from a 2-year extension of Michigan Tech to an autonomous 4-year college. Enrollment grew from 700 students in 1965 to some 2,800 in 1983. The Norris Center, Cisler Center, library, and other campus projects were completed under his guidance. This award recognizes personal and professional successes that serve as outstanding examples to LSSU graduates. The award highlights significant achievements of alumni who serve as leaders in our region, state, and nations. This year's recipient is Cindy Williams. Please welcome her presenter, a longtime friend and supporter to Lake Superior State University, and good friend and classmate of Cindy's, KP.
Well, it's great to see Scott back here at the university also, and to see so many of you who I went to school with here. And I have to tell you, I have known Cynthia Williams for 46 years. Now, I'm not that old, so how could that be? It's amazing. But anyway, I'm delighted to be here to present this award to Cindy, not only because of her dedication to Lake Superior State University and to all of us in our locale, our state, our nation, but also because I knew Dr. Scholdeis and worked with him. Cindy and I worked together in the dormitory program, resident hall program. Cindy was the dorm supervisor and I was an RA and head RA. We have several other RAs here today and others who have worked with Cindy over the years. But it's personal. And when you can say that you've known someone for 46 years and worked with them and not seen their character change one iota, that is a tribute to them, but it's also a tribute to their family. So I'm also delighted that Cindy has her favorite sister and brother-in-law with her and her favorite niece with her. Truly, I mean, she only has one sister, so I can say that. This award, as Scott said, recognizes personal and professional successes that serve as outstanding examples to LSSU graduates. And it highlights those significant achievements. You can read Cindy's resume in the program today, but what you can't read in the program is the 46-year friendship. You can't read the continual aspect of her being a patron of Lake Superior State University for 50 years, the entire time that she was here as a freshman, sophomore. She transferred out, go Broncos after you say go Lakers, and then she came back because she got married and spent her last year here at Lake Superior to graduate with what? An English degree. How many of you went to school for an English degree? Okay, we've got one. Cindy and one in here. Well, her English degree really paid off. She graduated with the highest honor here at Lake Superior with her English degree. But the one profession where you use communication tools precisely, ever so precisely, is in the law. And what Cindy did, and I was with her when Jeffrey, her first son, was just a dream, and she said she wasn't feeling good, and I said, Cindy, would you like some ice cream, maybe, and something else? And she said, that's not funny. Well, that one is a state senator today, and he does really good work down in Lansing, and his name's Jeff, Senator Jeff Irwin. So I just wanted to mention that, and I was actually, we were talking about dormitory business, and that's one of the things that I discovered. And so I knew before medical doctor, and yet still I didn't go to medical school. So I gotta wrap this up because I know Scott told me to put my hour-and-a-half presentation of Cindy back into the carton and only go for 2 minutes. So I'm trying really hard here. What you won't see on her resume in the book is that she is the distinguished representative and recipient of the coveted Crime Fighter Award from a national organization called Fight Crime, Invest in Kids. And I happen to know that because she earned it. And that group is led by law enforcement leaders, your sheriffs, your prosecutors, your police chiefs, who know that the best investment we can make in young people is to get them a good education so that they can be on the tax as contributors rather than on the taxes as we're contributing to them. So they add to the tax base rather than the tax burden. And for that, Cindy not only was on the board of the Children's Trust Fund in the state of Michigan, she was the president of the Children's Trust Fund. And I do want to say that during her tenure, we invested in the state of Michigan in these programs that help to increase family functioning by helping them with providing children with access to high quality early learning and care, and helping the parents to receive the services that they might need and might not know about or have access to. If we can help one child, if we can help two, and help their families to be contributors, we're all better off as taxpayers, and it's a win-win situation. She was the president of the Children's Trust Fund when we passed the Maternal Infant Early Childhood Home Visiting Program in the United States of America. And that is, it's called McV, the short version. But that's one of the things that our Children's Trust Fund board people had a heavy hand in. And people don't know this about public policy. I think our recipient of the last award, Heather, you would probably know about that on public policy. But it made a difference. And I would like to say that the big difference here is that this trailblazer who was dedicated to public service not only went back to school and got her law degree while she was a full-time mom and an English teacher, she then worked for the Supreme Court, for one of our Supreme Court justices in the state of Michigan. She was on staff for the MEA, Michigan Education Association, and then went to work running one of the largest insurance companies in the state of Michigan. She had more than 300 staff people. She had an annual budget of over $65 million, and she had premium revenues that exceeded $1 billion annually. And that's all with that little English teacher degree. She not only got an English major, she taught it. And she taught it to other people. The other thing that you won't see in her resume is that she has mentored young people, men and women, who wanted to go to law school. She was one of the first females who went to law school from Lake Superior State University. And I couldn't be prouder to say that because of the work that she's done all these years and the contributions that she's made to public education, to Lake Superior State University, to our region, our state, and our nation, and our nation's young people, that I'm so proud to be privileged to be here with her to introduce to you the Kenneth J. Schuldeis Achievement Awardee tonight, Cynthia Williams. Thank you.
How's this over there in the photograph?
You take 100 pounds up?
Thank you so much to the Alumni Association and to Lake State for that very meaningful recognition, and of course to my dear friend KP. That was quite an intro. Thanks too to my friends and family for being here. That means more than you can know. As KP said, we met in 1975. I was newly married and starting my senior year here at Lake State. I'd just been hired as a dorm supervisor at Lake State, and KP was the head RA. And since that time, we have been through a lot of things together, professional, personal, and sometimes even political. But our first storm together was historic. November 10th, 1975, the night the Edmund Fitzgerald went down, and the night all the lights went out at Osborne Hall, where we were in charge of 300 very frightened freshman women. What a storm that was. I'll never forget trying to get back from the library to my little apartment off the lobby of Osborne Hall. As I think about my years at LSSU, my thoughts do turn to Dr. Schuldeis, who I believe would be very proud of where LSSU is today in its 75th year. Dr. Schuldeis was a big presence both on campus and in the entire Sault Ste. Marie community. he had a powerful vision for this institution. And all these years later, I'm really proud and humbled to be associated with such a visionary leader who set exceedingly high standards for this institution and really for everybody around him. As I think back to when I landed on campus, though, I remember being very excited. I had a little sailor cap on my head for our orientation. They used to divide us up into ships. I was on the Stuart J. Court. I was so happy to be here. But I was also very aware that I did not have a clue what I intended my education to do for me or where I thought it might take me. Most of my friends, some of them who are here, were enrolled in the new nursing program. And they were as excited as I was, but they kind of knew what they wanted to do, and they've gone on to very successful careers in that field. I just knew that wasn't for me, but I thought this was a good place for me to figure it out and to see what the possibilities were. I just decided to follow my interests, do my best wherever I landed, and take the opportunities as they presented themselves. So I ended up transferring twice, changing my major twice, my minor 3 times, adding secondary teaching certification in my last year, taking a semester to student teach high school English out in the Red Yard, always working part-time and managing to graduate in 4 years. Oh, and I did get married in there too, I think I mentioned that. Along the way, I met some terrific professors who had a big impact on my life. Professors Moody, Tom Kelly, Robert Blair, Leon Linderoth, who was a sheriff and the head of the English department. How unusual is that? He was so wonderful. Ernie Kemp, and of course, Dr. Dan Doherty, who became a dear friend. I now know there are lots of things I didn't understand then about how the world works and about myself. I was a townie, still living at home with my parents early on. I didn't understand that I was a first-generation college student. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know that that meant I had some disadvantages. I didn't really even understand that there was a certain elitism around higher education. I always felt fortunate that the presence of LSSU gave me access, and the nature of this small but really nurturing institution gave me, if you're a Hamilton fan, my shot. While I was still trying to figure it all out. It was many years later when I was working at, really, as I look back on it, was my favorite job, my dream job, clerking for a Michigan Supreme Court Justice. When I finally realized what this elitism thing was all about, when some of my colleagues would say, "So where did you go to school?" And I'd say, "Lake Superior State University." They'd kind of look at me like, "Where in the world is that?" And I would explain it to them, and then I'd say, "Where did you go?" And they'd say things like Harvard, Vanderbilt, Notre Dame, the University of Michigan. And I'd just think about that a little bit, and then I'd realize that, yet, there we all were, all doing the same job, because I'd been given my shot. A lot of things have changed here since I was a student, but thankfully, most things have stayed the same. There are beautiful new facilities and exciting new and expanded programs here. Back to my time as dorm mom, the drinking age then was 18. That was different. There were lots of rules about when the boys could be in the dormitories. There was innocent nonsense like panty raids, and it all made for a very lively and interesting place to live. I also remember confiscating an illicit substance, dutifully putting it in a little plastic baggie and delivering it right away without any delay to the Dean of Students. I always wondered what happened to that little baggie. I think that maybe it's in the archives somewhere, and if anybody can dig it out, maybe it would be a great study specimen for the new cannabis chemistry program. I distinctly remember a final exam in Crawford Hall, which was interrupted by a streaker. This was the 70s, a streaker running across the stage. I mostly remember it because the class was titled Modern Social Problems. There are lots of things about LSSU that are happily still the same. Hockey, of course, although we had figure skating cheerleaders. Team pride and school spirit, snowman burning and banished words. And of course, all the memories I still share with my dear friends. Many thanks to LSSU and the Alumni Association for this wonderful recognition, for giving me my shot, and for remaining that small school with a really big heart that has an outsized impact on the lives of its students, in particular me. Thank you.
Congratulations, Cindy. Very well-deserved award. KP, that was really good. You had her on a pedestal. She was under the bus for a second. And you got her back out, and she wound up on the pedestal. So it was fantastic. You know what? I'm going to break from the script a little bit again. For those of you involved with the Alumni Association for years, thank you for everything you do. And I just want to take a brief moment and ask you if you would join me in thanking Susan Fitzpatrick, who spent a lot of years working and running the alumni program. Susan, thank you. So our final award is the Outstanding Alumnus Award. This award honors personal and professional accomplishments and involvement with Lake Superior State University. This is the highest honor the association presents. The award highlights significant achievements of alumni who serve as leaders in our region, state, and nations. This year's recipient is Jan Bednars. Here to introduce Jan is his longtime friend, classmate, and best man at his wedding, Joe Michelin.
Well, there's this thing about going last. Now that all of the professionals have made their statements, Mr. Michelin from the little town of Sheboygan, Michigan, is going to try to do my best friend some service. So, it's really a great honor and a thrill for me to introduce the recipient of this 2020 Lake Superior State University Outstanding Alumnus Award. Not often do you get to the opportunity to introduce a best friend, although you did a very good job of introducing what was probably a best friend. The two of us consider ourselves best friends, having met, in fact, over 50 years ago, right here at Lake Superior State College. I think it may have been actually at a pledge class for the business fraternity, Lambda Sigma Beta, at the time, in 1969. And the two of us met up and we seemed to get along with one another, and we thought, well, this is something we'd like to do. Let's see if we can't help one another and get through that ordeal of pledging a fraternity. And we did, and by God, we did a good job of it. So then the next fall, Jan helped me locate off-campus housing. I had been living in Osborne Hall, and they needed room for more young students coming in, so it was a perfect opportunity for me to make the break. And Jan, through his network of friends and acquaintances in Sault Ste. Marie, found a house, and that one house was then the soon-to-be famous, or perhaps notorious, 818 Helen Street, if you've ever driven down that narrow little street. It's just down the street from the Christopher Columbus Hall, which was handy, and just a short walk up the hill in the snow to campus. So, and we've all told our children about that walk, of course, and mine is true. But I'm sure we didn't realize it then, but we were already applying our business skills after just 1 year of school by, only our second year of college, by convincing that homeowner that it would be a better idea to rent an empty, dilapidated house to a bunch of college kids and make some money doing it instead of letting it just go into further disrepair. So the money, what did we pay the guy? $50 a month, and he was happy. I might add that was split 4 ways. So, $12.50 a month. We were regulars at the Chris Columbus Hall. The house eventually became the unofficial meeting place for the Alumnus, for the business fraternity, until they actually secured the basement of Sharon Hall right over here. And Jan was integral in securing that meeting place for us, which we spent some time cleaning up, and it became very nice. Now the people after us built up, and eventually became the fraternity house for the Alumnus. So a lot of great ideas were hatched in both that meeting room and in the house, and things like smokers, spaghetti dinners, fundraisers, winter carnival plans, renting out a parking lot that we didn't own for the I-500 parking. It was a beautiful thing. But perhaps the most well-known and enduring plan was the annual bed push. Many of you may be familiar with that, some of you not. But we did that in order to raise funds for the Sault Ste. Marie annual fireworks program. It was just a metal bed that we found around town at Jan, and he had, again, a bunch of buddies. We took it to a welding shop, Jan did, and had them put casters on the 4 bedposts, and we pushed that bed around town all weekend, every year, to raise money for these fireworks for the celebrations. And over the years, we actually raised several $1,000s just pushing that bed around late night bar patrons. They were our best customers. But there were other activities too that helped us shape our friendship. And some of those were, we both hung out across the street over here at the Newman Center. We went to Mass there on Sunday, believe it or not. We needed help. And I might add that there were other activities that took place over there. We attended some Senate meetings over there. But Father Menapace, if anybody remember that name, Father Menapace, many times on Sunday after Mass would come down to 818 Helen and have breakfast with us and give us a little blessing. But we were both later elected to the Student Senate. Jan spent 2 years on it. I spent 1. We did spend, Jan, 1 year actually on the men's basketball team. He's not standing yet, but I think he was maybe a little taller then, But he did a good job of supporting the team. He actually then participated in 3 years in ROTC during that same period of time. So he was very, very busy. And all the while, he was becoming more influential in the fraternity and rose to achieving the presidency in his senior year. And incidentally, during that year, I was his vice president and pledge master. I think I only got that job because I convinced my dad to throw the installation party for free at his restaurant in Sheboygan. So that may have had a little something to do with that position. But I think about best friends. Here we are 50 years later. A little over 50 years, actually. We even dated the same girl for a while. Without ruining our friendship. Eventually, Jan married his beautiful wife, Barbara, who has since passed. I married my beautiful wife, Janet, the other Jan in my life. And time goes on. As we moved on with our professional lives, Jan accepted a position with Royal Globe Insurance in the Chicago area, and I accepted a position with a pharmaceutical company, imagine that, in Michigan. And 3 years later, Jan joined the MJ Insurance Company in Indianapolis, and after a very successful career there, handling many major clients, retired as a vice president and part owner of the firm. So we never lost track of one another all those years. And you know, this thing about us being best friends, Jan also has another one, and I contend it's playing out right here and right now. Lake Superior State University has a best friend in Jan Bednarz. Over the years since graduation from what's now the Lukenda School of Business, we've had the pleasure of being able to keep in contact not only with former students or friends, but professors, instructors, and administrators, actually. Charlie Miser is sitting here. Charlie was always very quick to get in touch with one of us when he would take his group of students in free enterprise to one of the cities that we lived in. And we would actually host the kids at some of our houses for the competition. It was Jan's friendship with Dr. Madan Saluja that resulted in his contributions to the founding of the Lambda Sigma Beta Scholarship Fund. Scholarship fund, I might add, that neither Jan nor I would have qualified for based on GPA alone. So that's dedication. So I look forward actually to that annual call from Dr. Saluja. Every year, if he put together a staff of students to make the calls, I'd say, please have Dr. Saluja call me back. You know, and he would. And we'd have a great conversation, and he'd get some kind of a matching little grant from the companies that we all worked for. So in 2005, you probably know that Jan was awarded the Lukenda School of Business Distinguished Alumnus Award, not only for his professional achievements, but for his continued contributions to the success of the university. So Jan was invited by Dr. David Finley, who we had hoped could be here tonight, but to sit on the school's professional advisory board, and eventually became its very first president. So additionally, he's a lifetime member of the LSSU Alumni Association. So join with me and help me welcome the 2020 recipient, or is that 2020 and 21? I'm trying to make a case for that. a repeat recipient, right? Of the Lake Superior State University Outstanding Alumnus Award, and the university's best friend, Mr. Jan Bednarz.
Thank you, Joe, for your kind words. Really, really appreciate it. Trying to think of some things to say, and I think it's very fortunate to grow up in a Sault Ste. Marie. It's, at that time, it had around 14,000 population, and the neatest thing was, and I took my daughters today to see where I grew up, the fact that I could ride my bicycle to the athletic field. I could hitchhike to Sherman Park. I had 5 different jobs before I got my first job. I picked worms, I shoveled snow, I cut grass, caddy at the golf course, had a paper route. There are so many things you can do in a small town that I don't think you can do in a big town. That's why I really like Sault Ste. Marie. So many opportunities growing up. Meeting longtime friends, forever friends. I've got a couple of tables here, one of a bunch of cousins that are, they're with me all the time, and friends, local friends from high school and grade school. I mean, that's what small towns are all about. That's the best part of growing up in a small town. Also, coming to a small school is really the best, I think, it was for me. I mentioned to my daughters earlier today, I actually applied to 3 schools, Michigan State, Michigan, and Lake Superior State. And I got some really nice letters back from both Michigan and Michigan State, and they said, son, looking at your GPA in high school, looks like you had a really fun time in high school. Not the type of fun time we think you should have had, so why don't you try that college at the top of the hill in your hometown? Well, those were the best letters I got. And the reason why is because, looking back, if I had gone to one of those schools, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do all the things I was able to do at Lake Superior State. I couldn't have been on the student senate, the basketball team, and RLTC, and the fraternity all at the same time. Schools are so large, you get segmented, and you can only do one thing. You can't do all 4. So I think I was very fortunate to come to Lake Superior State, getting to know the professors. I mean, we had classes with 20 people. You go to some college, a huge college, you're not going to have small classes like that. I mean, it's just, you're so lucky to be here at Lake Superior State because it's a small school, but it's a good small school. That's the best part of it. Great professors. Charlie was, got to tell a story about Charlie. Charlie taught us statistics, and we're in a statistics class. And something you don't know about my best man, Joe, is he lost his left eye when he was 13 years old. And so he can only see out of one eye. And Charlie is going crazy. I mean, he's just writing across the board, and tough to keep up with all the notes he's doing. And Joe goes, Mr. Miser. Yes, Joe, what is it? Mr. Miser, could you please slow down? I only have one eye. I can only see half as fast as everybody else. True story. Thank you very much to the Alumni Association for the award. Really means a lot to me. I had no idea I'd ever, be able to get this award, so it was great. I think getting this award is a team, it's just not me, it's the team behind me. And the team behind me started out with my parents. As one of my grade school, high school friends said, we didn't realize we're poor because we're all in the same boat. And my parents said to me, we know we can't, and this is later in life they told me, we knew we couldn't give you anything, so we thought it best that we allow you to make your own decisions early in life, as early as possible. And I recall one thing was, in 9th grade, my mother gave me some money to go to the store to buy some clothes for school. And I went to the Catholic school, so no blue jeans, no sneakers, shirt's gotta have a collar on it. Those are the rules. And she just told me, come back with 5 pairs of pants, 5 shirts, and that's all you're gonna get for the year. So maybe a pair of shoes. But she said, I don't care what you wear, but you better think you're gonna like these things because that's all you're gonna get. And it made me make my own decisions, which really, really helped out because then I started making my own decisions and even made the decision, hey, I'm gonna go to college. I'm at dinner with my mom and dad and sister, and hey, Dad, I'm thinking of going to college. Well, that's a good idea, Jan. How are you gonna pay for it? Edith, could you please pass the potatoes? That was the whole discussion. Figure it out. But it was very helpful. The team, my mom and dad, they gave me the ability to make my own decisions. My late wife, Barbara, gave me encouragement. I met her in Chicago at the insurance company. We then moved to Chicago or to Indianapolis, where she went to work for a really good insurance agency. I was working for the insurance company. Later on, about 3 years later, she said, "Hey, Jan, you want to try to come work for this insurance agency? You do very well." And I was a little bit hesitant. I was looking at, well, should I try to follow the career path with the insurance company? And she just kept on saying, "No, you can do it, you can do it." I did. And later on, I've been there for 40 years. In 30 years, I was a part owner for 30 years, and I was employee number 26, and when I retired, we had 120 employees. And today they got 176 employees, something like that. I mean, a really booming organization. Well, the next people on my team are my two daughters, Jessica and Sandra. They keep me active. That's the best part. We talk to each other on Zoom every Monday night, and the topics range like all over the place, but they keep me active. I taught them both to ski, and now Sandy just blows by me going down the hill, and I love it. And they'll go in the trees, they'll do the moguls. I won't do that stuff, but they keep me active, and that's the best part about them. Michael M. Bill. Michael M. Bill was the founder of MJ Insurance. I've got a undergraduate degree in business from Lake Superior State, a master's in business from Butler University in Indianapolis, but I got my doctorate in business from sitting in the chair at 4:30 in the office of Michael M. Bill. Phenomenal businessman, legal mind, business mind, financial mind, and I learned so much from him. He was my #1 mentor, and still alive today. I have lunch with him. He's 85 years old and still just as sharp as he was back then. So he was one of the guys on my team. I also learned from other people that I came in contact with. My good friend Joe. Actually, in college, I had two best friends. Well, I'm going to go through both of them here. Joe was a person who had never met a stranger, and I learned from him how to work with people. Just following him, how he greeted people, how he talked with them, and I absorbed that from him. The other one is Greg Gabzinski. Greg worked in bottling facilities, Stroh Brewery Company. Any place that has a keg of beer in the lunchroom for the employees, you got to say that's fantastic. But Greg was a manager, and he taught me that you got to take care of your team. Just listening to him, all the things he did, take care of your team will take care of you. Be fair, but also be firm. And set the path, and let them go at it. But at the same time, make sure they know that this is what you want done. Madan Saluja, Dr. Madan Saluja. If I could have a best professor friend, that would probably be him. I talked to him a couple of weeks ago. I talk to him probably every 90 days. I'm one of the students at C, damn good grade. That's all I got from him was C's, but damn good grade. But if you look at him, he came from India to the United States and grew. I mean, he didn't. The immigrant that comes to the U.S. and prospers, I love to watch. I love to hear their stories, and his is a really good story. And in the 1 year, he said that he was going to go back to India and get married. And we said, "Oh, you've been dating somebody for a long time?" He says, "No, I put ad in the newspaper." That's the way they do it over there, put ad in the newspaper. He comes back with Miss India. I'm not kidding. She is just absolutely gorgeous, a nice lady, and but he is just a super nice guy, and that's what I really like about him. But he's a really good mentor. If I call him about business issues, he's always there. got me involved in starting the Lambda Sigma Beta Scholarship Fund. Got me involved as the Distinguished Alumni Award for the Business Department and also on the Professional Business Advisory Board. Two people that one is here, one isn't, keep me connected to campus. That was Tom Coates and Susan Fitzpatrick. Susan did a great job with the Alumni Association, thank you very much. And Tom was a Lambda contact back with Lake Superior State, a very good friend and friends of friends locally here. My sisters, Charlene and Yvonne, both cheerleaders for me. I got a really nice note from them yesterday about getting this award, and it really is helpful that they are some of my biggest cheerleaders. I have several cousins here tonight, a group of them sitting over there, and cousins and also children of cousins. The best part about them is you call them up and they're always happy to talk with you. I mean, they share their stories. If you got anything to talk about that you need help with, they're there to help you. So family is very important. Last but not least are my grade school and high school buddies. Three of them here tonight. Bill Celestino, Donna Torr, and Bob Fabricino. Bill and Jill Celestino, I got to stay with them every time I came up for these meetings that I had at Lake Superior State. I stayed with them. Always a great time. We'd go out, stay with them, go out to dinner. Don and Susan Torr, when I come up, Don and Bill are best friends, and we go to dinner every time we went out. But back about 2000, we started high school buddy golf weekend. There was about 6 of us, and of those 20 years, I probably was there 18. Don and Bill were there, about 18. And then the third one, Bob Fabricino. If anybody is familiar with Bob, he was the manager of many places around town, but the best one was the Christopher Columbus Hall. And these guys, they never let my head get too big. That was the best part. Is if I was maybe going off the wall a little bit, hey Jan, dial it down. You can't be that stupid. So there's a lot of people were on the team and really helped me out. I do have to ask Bob. Bob, where you at? Did you ever find your keys?
The what?
Did you ever find your keys?
In my jacket?
Yeah.
And I forgot that I wore it.
Yeah. It was a fun night. Those high school buddy golf weekends, just a really great time. So I would like to go back and thank the Alumni Association for the fine award, and really love what's going on campus now. Taking my daughters and my 2 best friends through the Kenneth School of Business. What a phenomenal place. Just phenomenal. It's much different than the South Hall that I went in. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Jan. Congratulations. Congratulations to all our very deserving award recipients. You represent our university well and make us proud. Thank you for all you do. Now, I'd like to thank all the people behind the scenes who worked very hard to make our Alumni Awards ceremony happen. Thanks to the Alumni and Foundation team, the food service, and physical plant. And for those of you wondering, this handsome young man over here, Alex Bozmowski, is the alumni president who's in all the pictures tonight, not just a professional model. He actually a couple of things before we wrap up. We're going to have group pictures for the recipients and the presenters right up here as soon as we close things down. And this second one is important. We ask all of you for your help in the very challenging job of of identifying and nominating deserving alum for these great awards. When you hear about a Laker alumni receiving honors and accolades, contact the alumni office and let us know. If you know an alum who's doing great things, don't keep it a secret. Please share it with us. That's it. Congratulations to all our recipients. Have a wonderful weekend and go Lakers.